Do you think a small rabbit can survive a forest full of dangers? On a night where every shadow moves and the wind whispers warnings, mysterious eyes are watching from the darkness. Follow the story of the cunning rabbit and discover why cleverness alone is not enough. Can a tiny rabbit outsmart dangers lurking in a dark, endless forest? When the wind whispers secrets and shadows twist around every tree, something watches silently with eyes that glow in the night. In the quiet forest, the sunlight barely touched the ground. The wind whispered through the tall trees. Every leaf seemed to hold a secret. The rabbit hopped cautiously between the shadows. Its fur gleamed softly under the faint light. Its heart pounded with both fear and excitement. The fox was near, its eyes sharp and calculating. Every step the rabbit took seemed louder than the last. The smell of wet earth filled the air. The rabbit paused, ears twitching. A sudden rustle made its heart leap. Branches cracked under unseen weight. A shadow moved, darker than the forest itself. The rabbit remembered the stories told by its elders. Traps and tricks were the only way to survive. It darted to a hollow log, barely making a sound. Its whiskers brushed against the cold, damp wood. The fox prowled closer, teeth bared, eyes glinting. The forest seemed to hold its breath. Every sound echoed like a warning. The rabbit took a deep breath. It placed a small stone carefully in the path. Then it ran, zigzagging between roots and vines. The fox lunged at the rabbit's last position. It landed on the stone instead. The stone wobbled, and the fox tumbled into a shallow pit. A low growl escaped the fox as it struggled. The rabbit watched, chest heaving, eyes wide. It could hear the fox's furious snarls. Its clever plan had worked, but the forest was not yet safe. Shadows shifted, and the air grew colder. A faint rustle behind the rabbit made its ears stand straight. It froze, sensing something worse than the fox. The darkness moved closer, swallowing the faint light. The rabbit's heart pounded as every sound grew sharper. The cunning rabbit realized it had escaped one danger. But the forest held secrets far more terrifying. The wind carried whispers of unseen eyes. And the night had just begun. The rabbit's breath came in shallow gasps. Its paws trembled slightly on the soft earth. The night was alive with noises that were too subtle to identify. Somewhere above, an owl hooted, long and low. The sound echoed through the dense forest. It seemed to vibrate in the rabbit's chest. The fox was still trapped in the pit, clawing at the edges. The low growls grew more desperate, but the rabbit did not dare to move closer. It was clever, but the forest had taught it that danger could come in many forms. Shadows twisted around tree trunks. The wind carried a scent the rabbit could not place. It smelled metallic and wet, like the ground after a sudden rain. A chill ran through the rabbit's spine. It pressed its body against a thick tree. Its ears twitched uncontrollably. Something was moving behind the thick ferns, but the rabbit could not see it. The forest seemed to close in. Every shadow stretched longer than it should have. Every sound amplified. The rustling of leaves sounded like whispering voices. The rabbit's instinct screamed at it to run. It turned slowly, eyes wide, scanning the darkness. A pair of glowing eyes reflected the moonlight. They were not the fox's. The rabbit froze completely. It could feel the creature's gaze, heavy and unblinking. The air was thick with tension, almost suffocating. A soft step came from the underbrush. Then another, then another. The sound was deliberate, slow, like the forest itself was moving. The rabbit knew it could not escape easily this time. Its clever tricks might not be enough. It had survived many encounters, but this presence felt different. Older, smarter, darker. The leaves rustled violently. A shadow darted across the ground. The rabbit tried to retreat, but roots twisted around its paws. It stumbled and nearly fell. A low growl emerged from the darkness, different from the fox. Deeper, louder, more terrifying. It seemed to come from everywhere at once. The rabbit's heart pounded in its ears. It tried to think, tried to recall the tricks it had learned. It remembered the hollow log, the pit, the zigzag escape. But this time, no trap would save it. The wind howled through the trees. Branches scraped against each other, creating a sound like claws on stone. The rabbit's eyes darted desperately, searching for something, anything. A large shadow moved closer, fast and silent. The rabbit could feel its heat. It smelled the forest decay, the damp soil, and something else, something foul and heavy. The rabbit's muscles tensed. It crouched, ready to spring. Its mind raced, trying to predict the next movement. But the shadow did not move like a fox. It slithered, glided, and yet seemed solid. A sound like broken twigs snapped underfoot. The rabbit jumped to the side, barely avoiding a massive paw. The shadow hissed, a sound that made the rabbit's teeth chatter. Every instinct screamed, run, hide, survive. The rabbit darted between trees, twisting and turning. hoping the undergrowth would conceal it. The moonlight filtered through the canopy, casting jagged shadows. The forest floor became a maze of light and darkness. The rabbit's breaths came out in short, panicked bursts. It stumbled over a fallen branch. Its claws scraped against wet leaves. A scream echoed from the pit where the fox struggled. But the rabbit did not look back. It could not risk the shadow catching it. The rabbit reached a small clearing. The grass was tall and wet with dew. It pressed itself against the ground, barely breathing. Its ears twitched, catching every whisper of movement. The shadow paused at the edge of the clearing. It sniffed the air, listening, testing, probing. The rabbit could see the eyes now. Glowing, relentless, intelligent. The rabbit's mind raced. It had to think. It had to act. The forest offered no safety, only endless possibilities of danger. Suddenly, the shadow lunged forward. The rabbit rolled to the side, narrowly avoiding the attack. Its heart slammed against its ribs. Its paws dug into the earth as it scrambled to its feet. The shadow circled the clearing. Its movements were smooth, deliberate, almost human. But it was not human. Its form was twisted, shifting, blending with the night itself. The rabbit remembered a stream nearby. Water could mask scent. It could slow the shadow, confuse it. It did not hesitate. It bolted toward the sound of running water. Branches whipped against its face. Its lungs burned with exertion. The shadow followed, silent and deadly. The stream came into view, narrow but fast. The rabbit plunged into the icy water. The current tugged at its small body. It gasped, the cold shocking its senses. The shadow reached the edge of the water. It hesitated, then stretched an impossibly long limb to reach the rabbit. The water hissed as the limb touched the surface. The rabbit kicked, paddled, and pushed itself downstream. The cold burned its fur. Its heart raced faster than ever before. The shadow recoiled, then wreathy first light of dawn touched the forest floor. Soft golden beams filtered through the trees. The rabbit, still trembling, lifted its head. The river carried the last remnants of the night's chill. Its small paws sank into the wet soil. Every sense remained alert, every ear twitching. The fox had disappeared from the pit. Perhaps it had escaped, perhaps it had learned a lesson. The forest seemed calmer, but the air still hummed with secrets. The rabbit took a cautious step forward. It sniffed the air, alert for any hint of danger. The shadows had receded, but they had not vanished. It paused at the edge of the clearing. The wind whispered softly through the leaves. The forest seemed alive, yet peaceful for the first time that night. The rabbit remembered the lessons of the dark hours. Cunning alone was not enough. Bravery, quick thinking, and respect for the forest's mysteries were equally important. It hopped forward slowly, leaving the river behind. Each step was deliberate, careful, yet full of quiet confidence. The sun climbed higher, painting the trees with light. Birds began their morning songs. The forest had returned to its rhythm, but the rabbit knew it would never forget the shadows. A deep breath filled the rabbit's lungs. It felt the warmth of sunlight on its fur. It had survived, outsmarted danger, and discovered the limits of cunning. The rabbit paused one last time, looking back toward the dense trees. The forest watched silently. It waited, patient and eternal. With a final twitch of its ears, the rabbit turned and hopped toward safety. Its heart still raced, but a quiet strength had taken root. The shadows of the night had faded. The danger had passed, at least for now. And the cunning rabbit disappeared into the forest, wiser, braver, and more aware than ever before. The forest returned to its peaceful rhythm. The river sparkled in the morning sun. And somewhere, deep within the trees, a pair of glowing eyes watched silently, waiting for the next moment. The rabbit's story was one of survival, cleverness, and courage. It had faced darkness, fear, and the unknown. And though the forest held more secrets than it could ever imagine, the rabbit had learned the most important lesson of all. Cunning could save a life. But respect, vigilance, and wisdom could preserve it. The forest whispered its approval. And the cunning rabbit continued, small and unassuming, yet forever changed.